No more murder! What is it you want? No
Very senseless. We had to bury one of our 14-year-old cousins that was gunned down on Bowden Street.
My first 4 years working with gangs, I went to over 100 funerals. I don't go anymore. If there's a kid that I've known and they get killed, or, I mean, even car wreck, I just don't go anymore. I can't do funerals and kids.
You know, at nighttime in communities where that we're experiencing a lot of violence, you know, there's always that sense that something can happen. You know, some of those guys who you know, we didn't save. You know, and that's the part that I always struggle with, because every time we lose a kid, a young person, a part of me goes away.
Understand, in the city of Boston, we have 300 names on what we call our PAC list. These are 300 young men who are most likely to shoot or be shot in the next 6 months. They're young people that come from families just like yours. They're young people who, in some way, actually have a dream.
And, you know, for people to brag about the fact that we're down to 30 or 33 murders per year, it doesn't mean much if you're a family member of one of those victims. That doesn't really resonate with them, because they don't care that the murder rate is down to 33, because they lost their son, their daughter.
Anything involving violence affects the fabric of the community. Grandmothers can't go to the store, kids can't play in the parks. In order to really get a community back together holistically, you have to have folks that have the desire, have the commitment, have the heart, and believe in going out and dealing with some of the most difficult situations in the community. Then other things can happen and the community can come together. But in order to do that type of work, you've got to be a certain person. It's something that has to come from way down deep inside to have that confidence to attract a certain type of family or kids and to want to go out and help those groups.
At this time, we're going to hear from a brother who's doing a lot of work in the community, and he goes around pulling them pants up because he's dealing with gangbangers. Reverend Dale Robinson, and he's going to talk about racial profiling and experience. Give it up for Reverend Dale.
Once again, I want to say I'm so proud to be here.
Look, actually, this is saving the community. So I truly appreciate this, for real.
It's been my privilege to work with Jesus Power Ministries over a number of years. And it's been exciting for me to see the breadth of work that it does to really address the needs of all of our children, but especially that small percentage of our children who really need some help, really need help in developing their potential, recognizing their gifts, understanding that they have a contribution to make. My impressions of Dale have been shaped not only by what I've heard about him, but by what I've had an opportunity to see with my own eyes and to hear about, not just in our conversations, but watching him work with young people in local community centers, having the opportunity to be a speaker in some of the workshops that he's done with young people, and to see the relationships, to see the way that he responds to them, they respond to him, and the power of the dynamic in that room as young people together are really beginning to forge a better future for themselves.
He is someone who is willing to go into that house that you wouldn't be willing to go into. He's willing to speak to that young person who you might cross the street when you see them. He's willing to engage them and also to help them walk the path that he's walked. And that's the path of revitalization It's the path of renewal, and it's the path of energizing a neighborhood and a community. I grew up going to the Tobin Community Center. I learned how to play basketball, but not well. And so that's his fault, actually. But I did learn a great deal from that experience, as well as other experiences around civic engagement, and really around how we can take control and change our community.
I have a national championship ring because of the young men that Reverend Dale Robinson saw value in, who made them feel like they had the pride and the esteem to be more than what they are. I don't care from what walks of life you are. You know, we feed on encouragement and being nurtured.
And you talk about credibility, you know, and not just credibility with kids on the street. This guy has credibility with everybody, and you don't find a lot of people who have that. You know, that's not something that people, you know, are given. You got to earn that, and he's earned it. You know, he's played his stint. He's not only, you know, did one side of the fence, but he's done this side of the fence. And, you know, for him to be able to bring both of those worlds together, I think is just unbelievable.
He has been very open and transparent about the struggles he's had to go through, and I think that's part of what makes him effective. That in many cases, the young people, and even sometimes older people, or parents that he's working with, know that he really understands the struggles that they're facing and that they're trying to overcome. But along with that, I think he's really able to talk to them about what he's had to do to move his life in a different direction and become a real contributor and a real leader in this community. And he understands how to take people along a process of beginning that change for themselves.
We create a society, you know, of despair when there's no hope. You know, and when you can see and when you can identify with someone who's been at the bottom, you know, who's picked themselves up, you know, that's inspiring.
Everybody was amazing, so give yourselves a round of applause.
Some of us don't have voices, and some of us don't even know where to begin. So for that, we could just jump on his back and piggyback and follow his lead.
It is important that you know, Jesus Power Ministries, No More Murder campaign, you know, Dale Robinson himself, you know, continues to be allowed to be a part of this effort. Because if he don't, we're gonna be up against some real challenges, some huge challenges. But if we had 10 Dales, if we had one Dale for every neighborhood, we would have no problems.
Right now, what's happening in Boston is just ridiculous. Things could be a whole lot better. But we've got to stop putting money in programs that actually do what needs to be done. Dale has always been the type, he wants to take on the toughest issues, the toughest problems, which really affect how everything else works in the community, how police interact with community, how probation interacts with kids on the street, how schools deal with parents and kids, how health centers come out, feel comfortable coming out and passing out information, how recreational programs run and who can participate. Because if you can't control the knuckleheads, everything else is just too difficult to deal with.
And we want y'all to hear from the future. What is it you want?